Let's win them all. Let's just win them all. Why not? 6-10, 6-10. Let's go. I feel very fucking good about our spot right now. Come on, calling with Queen Jack. Come on, get there. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a good series. What is up, everybody? How are you on this fine morning, afternoon, whatever you would like to call it? At this point, we're out here. We're a little worse for wear. We've seen better days. But God damn it, we're going to give it our best effort. We're going to go after it again. We're going to get in these 25-50 streets. I'm just about to take my seat. Let me go ahead and fire away. Oh no, I forgot to do auto top off again. I hate when that happens. Give me 1 second. For some reason, it's not picking up the old table. Let's see. There we go. There it is. Okay, we're out here. Let's go, baby. We got Leroy on in the background. We got a little 25-50 on Kings Club Poker. We are doing the damn thing today. Rough day yesterday, real rough day. I'm not sure I've ever suffered worse days. Obviously, didn't play my absolute best. Obviously, didn't run my best either. Couple big mistakes, I would say, were made. Specifically, I missed a pretty easy bluff catch, in my opinion, with top two, which would have been worth 45K pot or so. Really put me behind the 8 ball. Instead of being even, I was down like 30K after that. And man, the snowball effect is real. Ran into top of range quite a bit yesterday in what is generally otherwise a pretty wild game. So I think that, I probably bluff caught in a lot of spots where when I'm the one winning and the right people are the ones losing, those bluff catches are probably pretty good. But in particular yesterday, where I was kind of the mark, I was the wounded duck, if you will. They probably just didn't perform quite as well as they otherwise would, especially given that, theoretically speaking, a lot of them were at best close. But nevertheless, we're out here swinging again today. Similar lineup to yesterday. I don't see... We have one new player. One new player from the lineup yesterday. Overall, pretty decent. I'll try to give you some reads here and there whenever I have the opportunity to, but it won't really matter all that much because, quite frankly, you don't know who these guys are anyway. It's my home. What else do I need to take care of? Always so many things on the checklist to start a stream. So many chats going. I never know where to put the YouTube chat. That's the problem. I just don't have the screen space, and I don't want to put it on the side. But that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put it right on the side. Alright. Ooh, this is what we can do. I can make it smaller. Okay, we got it. Make sure we're running it twice. It seems to be important these days. Let me try to get this auto top off to work. All right, just like yesterday, we are going to be doing more homeschool, more opportunities to win seats into homeschool. If you recall, we were giving away 5 seats to homeschool. For anybody new who doesn't know what that is, homeschool is a course that is going to be 5 weeks long. It's going to run from May 25th to June 26th. It's basically going to build out the fundamentals of strategy construction. It's going to start with very broad strokes week 1, then kind of dig pretty heavily into solver work week 2 through week 5, or sorry, week 2 through week 4. And then week 5 is going to wrap it all up, taking that chunk of solver work and kind of extrapolating it out into a practical strategy that you can implement in your live games. We are going to be doing 5-seat giveaway over the next 12 days or so that I'm going to be streaming. Each day, I'm going to give you a video to leave a comment on. When you do so, you are entered into a drawing for seats, for giveaway seats for Homeschool. We're going to do a drawing every Sunday and then a final drawing on Wednesday. Leaving multiple comments doesn't get you multiple entries, but leaving a comment each day on the video that I instruct you to leave one on will get you multiple entries into the contest. So for today's video, I want you guys to head to the S4Y channel. Let's see. What video do I want you to leave a comment on? Okay, let's have you today. I'm going to flat here. In this game, generally, I would be 3-betting this spot, but I think this player is relatively good, and I'm going to have to mix in a lot more. Like, I'm not going to play a pure 3-bet range versus him, basically, is what I'm getting at. Okay, so to enter today's contest for the Homeschool giveaway, I need you to leave a comment on Big Poker Secrets Revealed, which is our advertisement for Quick Studies, our free course that you can sign up at S4Y.io. This is our fun player, so we are going to give him a little loose action, as we always do. Check is good. We're going to check behind, of course. It's a really good card for our hand. We have top set on the other table, which I would like to show you. Actually, we're going to check it. Very clear call here. We're just going to lose in this spot a lot of the time. I don't think we can go for it. I don't think we can go for it. Oh, that's so annoying. And it begins! Oh, and it begins. God damn it. This is why we give him loose action. Because we just always have him dominate, and it doesn't ever matter. We did win with top set on the other table, so we're about even on the day. Oh, man. These guys. I'll tell you what. Flatted here out of a small blind with the 6-7 of spades. Checks through. Pretty poor turn for us. I think we're just done with this hand. So to the giveaway, back to the giveaway. Leave a comment on Big Poker Secrets Revealed, the Quick Studies video, and you will be entered into a drawing for the Homeschool seat giveaway. And those carry over. So just because we have a drawing on Sunday doesn't mean that your entry into said drawing gets eliminated. You'll still be entered into future drawings as well. So like the channel, or sorry, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then leave a comment on Big Poker Secrets Revealed in order to have a shot at a homeschool seat. So in love with the flame, with the flame, with the flame, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. We had the best hand. How could we ever have the best hand there? To the fence. Big shout out to the chat. What up? Oh, I'm going to butcher this. Michael Tammany. I think I got that. What up, Kevin Berg? Polycus, what's going on? Oh, no. Ryan M in the chat. He's one of the players. It's so brutal. Kenny Storch offering to lay me 3-1 to beat 500 Zoom on stars over 50,000 hands. 3-1. Okay. I might be interested. Can you escrow the money? Can we find an escrow? If you're being sincere, I would genuinely consider taking you up on it. This is going to be a check back with our double gutty. I will have you know I was right on time today, Ryan Braun. It's a 5-minute delay, so you get it 5 minutes late, of course. I think we can peel here. This is a little sketch, but I actually think I take that back. I think we can raise here. I think this is one of our low equity or zero equity bluffs. The problem, the real problem with this hand is I'm not sure if he limped or if he posted. And that definitely changes things. That river also changes things in the negative for us, so we kind of just have to give it up. Oh, hey, look at that. We got his ass, kind of. I'm not so confident about that play. It was a little hairy. Stefane says, hey, Berkey, what feedback did you get about the vlogger's POLO 2? Or, sorry, Poker Out Loud 2? Any chance? I'm not sure what's going on here. That's brutal. Any chance of a season 2? For sure. Maybe, well, I don't know. There's definitely going to be another YouTube season of Poker Out Loud, for sure. I just don't know if it's going to be vloggers or if we're going to do something else. There were a lot of gamers who were interested in doing it. They come with a massive audience that isn't directly poker, so I'm a little bit interested in that, I think. So we're going to explore some things, see what we can come up with. But yeah, there will definitely be another season of of Poker Out Loud on YouTube. This is going to be a pretty standard check back. Good turn for both hand and range. I think we can protect a little bit here. Something like 40% makes sense. And now we just check down and lose. For everyone who is faithful to the vlogcast, we are going to go straight from the stream right into a live version of the vlogcast this week. So I'm probably going to cut the stream at around 5:50, and it'll just redirect you right to the vlogcast, which is, or sorry, at 4:50. It'll redirect you right to the vlogcast, which is going to start at 5 o'clock. Please tune in. We appreciate it. David White says, yo, Berkey, did we manage to run it back up yesterday? No, we managed to do quite the opposite. We quit at peak low. We were peak incinerated for sure. Oh, fascinating. There's a Ryan M in the chat and a Ryan M that I play with. Not the same person. Who knew? What up, Kenny Heaton? How you doing, man? Okay. You're forgiven, Ryan. I appreciate your loyalty and for keeping me on time. Your diligence to the cause. Good luck with all that you do. Whoops. Misclick. What up, Affleck? How you doing, man? Said, let's get a sit and go poker out loud. I'm in. We actually did a sit and go poker out loud. Well, we kind of tried to mimic a bubble, and I have to tell you, it was awful. It was very bad, very bad. Yeah, it just doesn't translate all that well into MTT stuff. Michael Brenneman says, in one of the vlogcasts, you said you wouldn't want celebrities on Poker Out Loud unless they really added value to the show. I think it would be a lot of fun to see Kevin Hart on the show. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big ask. I don't know that Kevin Hart's beating down our door to play Poker Out Loud, but sure, I wouldn't say no if he were. When he gets done with it. Stefan says, Poker Out Loud with gamers. Can they elaborate on their strategy and thought processes? No shade to Rampage, but he had a lot of not sure why justifications to his play. Yeah, to be honest, for the YouTube version, I don't really care that much. I'm not nearly as particular about who plays or how much they're going to contribute. I care a lot more about the product getting in the or getting in front of more people. And if somebody has a massive audience that they're willing to allow us to leverage to demonstrate Poker Out Loud, then I think it's worth a lot, both to us and to the product. Also, a lot of people just really want to hear what beginners are thinking. And it doesn't matter how many times I tell them that the answer is largely nothing. No one seems to believe me. So I think like getting some entry-level players on there and having them run into a bunch of, well, I'm not sure what to do, but I'm going to do this kind of spots isn't really all that bad. I just wouldn't do it for the subscription site. I think that product needs to be high level. I think that it needs a certain caliber of player who's capable of conveying all of their thoughts pretty eloquently, and has enough of a sound strategy that the user can learn something. Okay, four-way spot here. Pretty favorable flop for us. Quite reasonable to go for a check raise. I think we have enough aggressive players behind us. Jacks and queens specifically would be the overpairs that I would be most excited to check raise. I think aces and kings, I'm more inclined to just bet for protection's sake / denial. They also unblock the most types of hands. Yeah, I think I'm going to continue to check. I don't really need to bet for denial's sake at this point. This board should touch people in a way where they're more willing to bet. I guess it doesn't matter. We end up backing into a straight with the club blocker. Anytime first player checks, I imagine we are almost never up against a flush. So we can go ahead and extract some value. Teos Patel says, Yo, Berkey, what was the total lost amount yesterday? Have you thought about upping the stakes and buying them out? That's not an option. This is the only game in town. I ended up losing 12 buy-ins, give or take. Not a fun day. Not a fun day at all. I won't be your desperado. I won't be. Ryan says, Burke, what did you think about the Steelers draft? I thought that they crushed, per usual. I honestly never watched the Steelers draft. I talk about this all the time, how most NFL fans are just like psychopaths for the draft. They get so excited. But like being a Steelers fan, where they've just been competitive my entire life, like with the exception of like this small stint in the 80s when I was almost too young to care, like the Bubby Brista era, they've just always been a contender. They've always, been favorites to win their division. They're always Super Bowl contenders, basically year in and year out. But they're almost exclusively always in the playoff hunt, right? So for that reason, you just don't value the draft all that much. Like they just get a B+ every single year. They fill needs. They don't really go for high profile players. The last first round draft pick that I truly remember was Polamalu, where I think they traded up in order to get him number 1 overall. Or not number 1 overall, sorry. earlier in the first round. But like, yeah, they're always picking late in the first round. Like, I just don't care. It's not really a big deal. This year I paid a little bit closer attention just because they had so many needs on the offensive line and defense, and I think they did a great job. They got Penn State's tight end, which should hopefully shore up some of the outside run blocking and pass protection that we've been struggling with. I was really happy with them drafting Najee. I think that, I would have been happy if they kept Connor just as much. I don't really think it was his fault that the run game suffered last year. I think it was a lot of the offensive line and just a scheming problem overall. We kind of just like went away from the run game in a big magnitude. But, that said, you get a really powerful rookie who is coming from a massive program that is proven to be able to move the ball. Assuming the kid can catch, he's going to be an absolute weapon. Not that unheard of that he could be another Le'Veon Bell type. And I'm super, super bullish on Ben this year. I think that it looks like he had a subpar year last year. It looks like he underperformed. But when you really just kind of like take away the last 4 or 5 games where they passed 95% of the time, it wasn't an accident that they were undefeated for so long. Like, sure, they had a soft schedule, but he was also largely back, and our receiving core is very, very young and very legit. So, yeah, I mean, Vegas has them as pretty big dogs. I think they have their over-under at 9.5 wins. And they have them as, like, almost 4-1 dogs to win the division. Which, to be fair, Pittsburgh does have probably one of the toughest schedules, if not the toughest this year. But I think that they'll be there at the end. They may not win the division. I might be a little overzealous in projecting that. I just don't buy the Baltimore and Cleveland hype, man. Cleveland's just still very Cleveland. And, yeah, I'm not sure. Baltimore didn't impress me at all last year. Like, people forget that Pittsburgh handled them, They struggled down the stretch over the last 4 or 5 games or whatever once they already had everything locked up. But they handled Baltimore when it mattered. And that was supposed to be a Super Bowl contending team. Haven't really played with this player, so I'm just going to continue through a flat. Steve Salino says, just upgraded to the new site. Very nice work. Very sleek and easy to navigate. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Really happy with the new platform. For those of you who are current members, we've just completed the process of transferring everything over from our old site. Now, in this particular spot, we're going to fold. He's not getting loose action. We just transferred everything over from our previous site to a new platform called Uscreen, which seems to inherently just have everything that we want. The ability to cast, the ability to kind of list all of the videos within the context of the course that you're watching on the right. Just the whole platform is laid out a lot better, and it is hopefully going to be a lot more user-friendly. Your face on the wrecking ball, yeah. I hear silence, new change coming round. Mickey Werzer says, don't queens and jacks need more protection than kings and aces on that particular texture? I don't think so, because of their inherent ability to perform well as the board straightens out. What you have to remember on a texture like that, especially in a multi-way pot, is you're not that concerned with overcards because that won't make up the bulk of the equity that you're up against. You're more so concerned about middling cards fall. So the board texture, to remind you, was 10-8, 6, I think, or 10-8, 5, something like that. You're much more worried about like the middling cards like 7, 8, 9 falling, and when you have jacks and queens, they just perform better, as we saw once we checked down and ultimately ran out of straight. This call might be a little bit loose versus a button 3-bet. It's always tough to tell how people are playing at any given time throughout the day. But with the big ante, I'm just always going to err on the side of defending those fringe hands. There's a blind and a half out there in the ante, so I expect ranges to be a lot tighter. Fishcake says, you left a ton of money on the table with the Jack-Jack, in my opinion. Well, considering everybody checked to the river, I doubt that they ever had any sort of showdown value. What types of hands would have called a bet prior to the river that just chose to check instead and then ultimately folded to a 30% pop bet on the end? Doesn't seem to align with what you're saying. My guess is they all had a whole lot of nothing. Stefan says, Berkey, what's the target stakes for Homeschool? Is it 5-10 plus? I feel 2, 5, and 5 players are confused by solvers. No, it's definitely more of the people that are trying to transition from 1-2 to 2-5 or from 2-5 to 5-10. The solver work in and of itself isn't it's not super complex. It's just data being demonstrated to show why certain strategic options are the most viable. So don't think of it in terms of your standard solver study, where as a user, you need to understand how to enter the parameters. You need to understand how to estimate the parameters. You need to understand how to read the data that gets output. You need to understand how to manipulate that data if you want to look at it from a couple different angles, right? That's not what's going to be happening. What's happening is you're actually going to have all of that interpreted for you by the coach. So the coach is the one who's entering the parameters, who's running the solve, who's interpreting the data, and is basically just coming back and saying, like, essentially, this is the best viable strategic option whenever you're in this formation or whenever you're in this type of game or whatever the case may be. So think of it more so as a guide than the in the weeds solver study you would usually run into. My eyes starts to warm. Okay, we can go a little bit bigger on these types of textures, particularly with this hand. We tell her that I miss her. We tell her it's been weeks since I smiled. See on the beach. By my side. So here we have a big blind defend, and we faced half pot on the flop. We chose to check raise. I think we can continue for roughly 40% here. We're going to have the best hand a lot of the time. It does need some protection. This is also a very good range card for us. So we're going to go 600. And we would be making this bet with a lot of our Queen X, some of our sets, some of our two pair like 6-4. We'd be more polarizing with hands like some of our sets 5-7, and then hands like 7-9, or if we ever have like 9-10 Jack-10. This card's pretty tough. Our hand does still bluff catch, I imagine, at some frequency. We shouldn't really expect a queen to be betting all that often at this point. We will just have the nut flush draw in range, of course. That size doesn't really make a ton of sense at all. I mean, you could go kind of polar with just an ace, especially because the only way you get here with a naked ace is if it's hearts, which means that I don't have hearts, and I very likely have a bluff catcher in like Queen X, possibly some 8X. We shouldn't really see this out of a queen ever. We block 5-7, so that's like kind of indifferent to us. We should see a lot of Jack 10, 9-10 in range here. Probably Jack 10 of clubs and any Jack 10 with a heart. Same thing with 9-10. This is very close. I think having the 7 is probably a negative event. We're going to call. Fuck. Maybe fuck. I don't know. Sean, tell me later. Ay, ay, ay. I think that that's probably a call. Okay, over here we open pre. Big blind defend. The turn 8, not great, but we still need to bet. So we're going to go 3/4 and win. Yeah, I might have gotten lucky there. I think having the 7 is probably pretty negative when it comes to bluff catching on the end. We really only block. We really want to block ace-7 at that point. Which is like of his value hands, we block ace-7, which is somewhat relevant, but maybe not terribly. Let me give that a look, David. Oh, hello. David Weaver says the merch link in the description doesn't work. I've corrected that. If you guys are looking to get some S4Y merch, you can head over to the shop, give it a little look-see. Might be something you enjoy. I think we're going to 4-bet here. Definitely could be mixing a call. But again, with the big ante, I think that it just benefits to be very aggressive in these spots. Our hand's probably pretty close between a check and a small bet. I'm almost always going to lean bet in these spots. I think now we have a pretty clear check. Very strange jam. We do unblock diamonds. We do block some of the overpairs. We're just going to have to let this one go, I think. It's kind of annoying. There's a lot of hands he could be bluffing with depending on how widely he's 3-bet calling. The problem is that we just like see-suited connectors here, so we could find some 6-7, 7-9, stuff like that, but he also just could have an 8 at that regard. We're just going to let it go. Brandon S. says, Berkey, did you end up over the weekend in Texas? Saw you on the main table for a bit, but I had to work. I did well. I won 35K in cash, or like 30K in cash, and then I cashed in the tournament. I got like 72nd for like 4K or something. Bring it back to me. Oh, you were right about. Everything. You were holding on to me, holding on. Yeah, I think that Michael Brennan says that 8-7 was probably close enough to break even. The timeout doesn't hurt you. Yeah, I think that it's like a 0 EV call. Maybe even slightly losing if my opponent's under bluffing. Well, for sure losing if he's under bluffing. Jack Bridges says, would you be interested in playing Helmuth in the high stakes duel? I wouldn't be interested in playing anybody in the high stakes duel. I think the structure is awful. Definitely not my cup of tea. What up, Hish? Good afternoon, my friend. What app is this? This is King's Club Poker. Michael K says, are you looking forward to the completion of Rivers Hotel so you can play some big tournaments back home? I didn't know anything about it, to be honest. Rivers Casino makes me a little sad. Like, I've never once in the history of it being open been invited there, which is a little bit bothersome for me. It's not like there are bigger players who've come out of Pittsburgh. And on top of that, like, you know, I've solved for Y, and like we could easily run meetup games there and do all kinds of other fun shit if they just cared enough to reach out. The water slide. Pretty easy call for us. I think versus a small bet, we can check raise here some of the time. As anticipated, that's what we face. I think something in the neighborhood of like half pot's pretty good. Wins. Really good squeeze spot for us here. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. The old flat back raise. I think we just have to be all in. If he has a trap, he has a trap. I think it's going to be a lot of like ace-king type hands. Maybe some tens. Obviously, we'd rather have like queens plus. He could have queens, but not too much we can do. Oh, he just has the aces. Because it's a back raise, and that's what they always have. Why am I sitting out? Versus sub 100 blind stack, I think we should. Maybe we should 3-bet here. It's close. This is our loose action player. We're going to gamble with him. So likely check at greater than 0 frequency. Half pot, we just fold. Yeah, he had the 7 deuce. Shocker. Shocker. Now you guys see why I'm so loose pre. By the way, we're not playing the 7 deuce game, in case anybody was wondering. He just likes to do that from time to time. David White says, Berkey, I'm very much enjoying the quick studies course and the new site. Very slick, marked improvement in my opinion. How often will each quick studies course drop? I assume they're monthly. They've been monthly for the first 3 months. I'm a little bit behind on producing the next batch. So may not come out until June 1st instead of May 1st for the next one. Or sorry, July 1st instead of June 1st for the next set, but we're hopeful. Have you ever reached out to Rivers? Yeah, back whenever they used to do Poker Night in America, I tried to get on like 3 or 4 times and was always denied, which was particularly annoying because Poker Night in America's original slogan was like highlighting local players at each stop, yada, yada, yada. But que sera, sera. I don't really give a shit. Against most players opening under the gun, this is definitely just a call, but we go a little bit harder here against my guy, against the Lion King.